Hari Om to all Atmajyotis. Atmajyoti Vishwa Gurukulam welcomes you all to another year of Gita Jayanti celebrations. With the blessings and guidance of our Sadguru, Sri Narasimha Prabhuji, the Light of the Self Foundation, proudly presents our offering of this Gita Jnana. The Bhagavad Gita is the essence of the Vedas. The Gita says that we should build our spiritual journey, and heaven or hell is created by our actions. We reap what we sow. The Buddha taught, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. It is founded on our thoughts and it is made up of our thoughts. Thus, what we think is what we become. It is therefore important to cultivate the right kind of thought and actions. In chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, Kshetragna Vibhaga Yoga, Bhagavan gives the virtues to be cultivated within a seeker to purify the kshetra and illuminate it with knowledge. This knowledge helps us realize our own divine and eternal nature. Let us chant these shlokas now. Amanitvam madabhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham sthairyamatma vinigraha indriyartheshu vairagyam anahankara eva cha janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanudarshanam. Asaktirana vishwangaha utradara grihadishu nityaicha samachittatvam ishtanishtopapatishu mai chananya yogena bhaktiravyabicharini viviktadesha sevitvam aratirjana samsadi adhyatmanyana nityatvam tatvajnanarthadarshanam etajnanamiti proktam ajnanam yadatonyatha. Let us now see the qualities described in these shlokas. Humility, freedom from hypocrisy, non-violence, forgiveness, simplicity, service of Guru, cleanliness of body and mind, steadfastness, self-control, dispassion towards the objects of senses, absence of egotism, aware of the evils of birth, disease, old age and death, non-attachment, absence of clinging to spouse, children, home, etc., even-mindedness amidst desired and undesired events in life, constant and exclusive devotion towards God, inclination for solitary places, aversion towards mundane society, constancy in spiritual knowledge, philosophical pursuit of the absolute truth. Let us dwell deeply into these virtues and understand them through the presentation of the Gita Study Circle. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
the Atmajyotis, Divine Light of the Self. Greetings on the occasion of Gita Jayanti. Today I am very happy to share with you all my understanding of a few key factors of the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, which is called the Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. So what is this Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga and what does it mean? Commonly understood, the term Kshetra means field. Kshetrajna means the knower of the field. So Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga means the yoga of the field and the knower of the field. So what is this Kshetrajna? The definition given by Adi Shankara is Kshetravat asmin karma phala nivrittehe. That means the field is that one in which we sow the seeds and reap the crop. See, the crop depends on the kind of seeds we sow, isn't it? So in this context, the Kshetra is the body, the BMI complex of the body. What are the kind of seeds we sow in the Kshetra? Depending on that, it either becomes a Dharma Kshetra or it becomes a Kurukshetra. So what are the karmas we do continuously through our body, mind, through our words, thoughts and actions? That depends on the input that we give, the seeds that we sow. The seed that we sow also depends on from where we are getting the seeds. So this kind of seeds we are getting from Bhagwan himself, from the Bhagavad Gita chapter 13, in which he gives more than 20 kinds of qualities that one has to sow in this Dharma Kshetra in my mind and translate into action so that I remain a Dharma Kshetra and I realize my life purpose of becoming transiting from a Kshetra to Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Okay, so this is what Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 13. So many qualities he gives, out of which we will discuss a few here right now. So I want to recall a beautiful story of a saint from Maharashtra of the late 13th century. His name was Sant Namadev. This Namadev was an amazing devotee of Vitthala, Panduranga Vitthala of Pandharpur. He was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. And he grew up, singing the Lord's praises, and he became such a great devotee that the Lord would actually, he became his Namdev's friend. He used to come to Namdev's house, he used to sit with him, eat with him, talk to him, laugh with him, play with him, And it is said that Vitthala and Namdev used to sit together and discuss scriptures. That was the kind of devotee he has, completely immersed in the bhakti of Vithoba. But this Namdev, and he was so invested, he was so devoted to Vithoba that he wouldn't even look at any other god or deity or even acknowledge that is also God. He didn't do that. Because for him, Krishna and Krishna alone was God and nobody else was God. And so this Namdev's very dear friend was Jnanadev, another great saint from 13th century Maharashtra. All of them wonderful. They all gave birth to the Bhakti Panth. Bhakti, the wave of devotion. The singing saints of Maharashtra came during this period. This Jnanadev he was also a Jivan. This Jnanadev was a Jivan Mukta and a great friend of Namdev. Jnanadev used to always feel that Namadev was not really a complete bhakta unless he got out of this Vithoba complex, and acknowledged that everything indeed is Brahman. So that was Jnanadev, and he tried to tell Namdev, look, your learning is still not complete. You have to come out of this. And that's why I want you to come with me on a pilgrimage. Namdev said, okay, I shall come with you on a pilgrimage. Anyway, Vithoba will also come with me. And so, where Jnanadeva took this Namdev? he took him to another great devotee of Krishna, and he was a very humble potter, and his name was Gora. We call him Gora Kumbara, or Kumbara in Kannada means a potter. So this Gobar Kumbhar also in Marathi means a potter. So this humble potter, who was an illiterate, basically he was unread, he hadn't gone to school, and he was also a great devotee of Vithala. He was also a great devotee of Vithala. And he was very, very, very simple, humble. He had no complexes at all. So Jnanadeva took Namadev to this Gora's house. And this Namadev was wondering, why have we come to this potter's house? What has this potter, what will he have to, what will he have to tell me? I am such a great devotee of Vithala. What will this humble potter say? But Jnanadeva, along with his two more brothers and one sister called Muktabai, they were all enlightened beings. All four of them with Namdev, they went to this humble potter's cottage. And the Jnanadeva, after receiving all the hospitality of Gora Kumbara, he requested him, Gora, I want you to test us all with your potter's stick. There used to be a stick with which Gora used to do his pots. He used to use it. He said, take out your stick and tap us all on the head and test us like you test your pots. You test your pots, no? To see whether they are baked or not. You please test us all and tell us. And Gora was mystified. But then he said, yes, if Jnanadeva is telling me to do that, I will do that. That means Vithala himself wants me to do that. So he takes out his stick and he taps everyone on the head. Jnanadeva, his two brothers, Sopanadeva and another person. And then Muktabai, he taps everyone, and it comes to, and Namadeva, he taps him twice on the head and says, this pot is half-baked. This pot is half-baked. Now, what is the meaning of a half-baked pot? Sri Ramakrishna says, when a pot is not completely baked, it is still clay, it is still soft. And you know what happens? When cow and cattle walk on that kind of a soft pot, it again becomes a lump. And so the potter has to gather it again and make it into a pot shape again and then bake it again in the fire. Only when it is properly baked that the pot will not become a lump. That means this person is not yet completely immersed in Brahman. He doesn't have the complete knowledge of Brahman. He has not realized Aham Brahmasmi. That is the meaning of a half-baked seeker, sadhaka. This Namadeva was shocked. He thought he was completely one with Bhagavan, and this humble potter is telling him that no, you are incomplete. You still don't have the knowledge that Aham Brahmasmi. You have not become one with Vithala. That is what Gora Kumbara is implying. Namdeva was shocked and Jnanadeva smiled. Namdeva stormed out of Gora's house and he went straight to his favorite god Vithala and demanded, what is this potter is saying? That I'm a half-baked pot? I'm a half-baked pot? Then Vithala, what did Vithala say? He laughed. He said, yes, Gora is right. You're still half-baked, Namadev. You need to have a Sadguru to guide you on the path, and then only you will be able to understand what is required to merge with me, become one with me. And so, you know what was the problem with Namdev? He was arrogant. He was arrogant and he took God for granted. So that one missing quality in him made him separate from God. And what was that one missing quality that he had to acquire, that all sadhakas have to acquire in order to realize Brahman perfectly? It is amanitvam. Amanitvam is a quality that God says is very important for us to develop. That's an important seed for us to sow in order to become a kshetrajna. Amanitvam means humility. Not arrogance, but humility. An Amani is one who has who is not, he is not just merely humble. He also makes the other person in front of him feel good and nice. He doesn't bother much about his own greatness. And he makes the other person feels important, great, respected. He's an Amani. That mana that we call in our local languages, mana, avamana, sammana, mana, all that doesn't matter. That is why he's called an Amani. It doesn't matter to him because he's so supremely confident of he's centered in his knowledge, and so he's so humble. He wears it very lightly. All his knowledge, all his greatness, all his success, all his power, he wears it very lightly. He sits very lightly on his shoulders. Therefore, he's called an Amani. So now we shall listen to a beautiful story of one such Amani, the one who was completely humble, yet completely immersed in God and become one with God. So here is the great Maharshi Valmiki. We all know that he wrote the story of the Ramayana. He was the author of the Ramayana, and his version of the Ramayana is what we still read and respect and we worship even today. After so many years, 7,000, 8,000 years after it was written, we still worship this Ramayana, isn't it? Maharshi Valmiki. Once, Narada, we know the celestial sage Narada, he visited Valmiki and said, you know how Narada is, no? He is a kind of, mischievous guy, and he's a troublemaker. He comes and tells Valmiki, Valmiki, your Ramayana is indeed very beautiful. There is no doubt about it. But there is one more Ramayana which is even greater than yours. Valmiki was aghast. Who else has written the Ramayana? I thought I was the only person who had, with so much great devotion and tapas. I saw the life of Rama and I have recorded it. Who else could have written this Ramayana? He said, Hanuman, of course. Narada said, Hanuman. He was the guy who was with Rama all the time, isn't it? So Hanuman has, first person, he had a ringside view of Rama's life, and he has written the Ramayana. And go and look at that. Then you will understand which one is greater, yours or his. And so, having ignited this little doubt in Valmiki's head, Narada Muni left. He disappeared. And so Valmiki could not rest. Then he found out, where is Hanuman these days? Hanuman was a Chiranjeevi. Where is Hanuman? He was in the Himalayas. What was he doing? He was chanting Rama's name. What else will he do, Hanuman? So Valmiki, without any delay, he left to the Himalayas. And he located where this Hanuman was living. And he went and prostrated to Hanumanji, and he said, very humbly, Valmiki was a great saint. And he very humbly, he requested Hanuman to show his version of the Ramayana. He said, Narada Muni has told me that you have also written the Ramayana. How come it is not in public domain? It's not been shared anywhere. Like we share all our YouTube's, stories and, posts and WhatsApp status. Nothing has been said about your Ramayana. Where is it? Can I read it? And so Hanuman said, of course you can read it. And you know what he did? He carried Valmiki on his shoulder and he flew. He was already at a great height in the Himalayas. He flew even more. And, he placed Valmiki on a vantage point where Valmiki could see all the mountainous faces, the rocks, the cliffs. He can see everything. He had a beautiful view of the Himalayas. And to Valmiki's amazement, each and every surface of the mountain was carved with Ramayana. Hanuman himself had carved the story of Rama with his nails on every available surface of the Rocky Mountains. And Valmiki was overwhelmed and amazed, and he went on reading. He went up and he went down. He looked closer and he went far. And he read each and every surface of the rock on which this Ramana was carved. And sometimes he used to smile, sometimes he used to laugh, sometimes the tears would roll down his eyes. He used to sob. He was so completely immersed with the beauty and in the vivid presentation of the Ramayana that Hanuman had carved on the mountain tops. And completely at the end of it, Valmiki was exhausted. He was all his emotions were exhausted. All his, he was so thrilled and he was overwhelmed, and he sat silently for some time. And then tears started rolling down the cheeks of Maharshi Valmiki. Hanuman was, worried. Then very anxiously he asked Valmiki, "Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Is something wrong? Have I said something wrong? Is there something that I should correct in my writing? Please tell me, Maharshi. Please, I will correct myself if you tell me." Valmiki said, "My dear Hanuman, your Ramayana is so beautiful that if people are exposed to your Ramayana, my Ramayana it will be forgotten in a moment. It is nothing. It is crap compared to the Ramayana that you have written." Hanuman, then he was reading, "Oh, that is what is bothering you, Maharshi. Don't worry. Your Ramayana will not be scrapped, because you know what?" Then, Hanuman, he gathered all the rocks on which he had carved the Ramayana. Then he piled them on his shoulder. Then another shoulder he carried Valmiki, and he flew to the mighty ocean. And he just, he declared to the ocean, "Oh ocean, this is my offering of Ramayana to you." And he threw all the boulders into the ocean. All the boulders made a mighty splash, and they sunk into the ocean. Then Hanuman said, "Look, I wrote the Ramayana for my own satisfaction, because I love Rama. I wrote it. I am not bothered if anybody reads it or not. I am very glad you read it, but it doesn't bother me. Whereas you have written the Ramayana so that everybody can read and sing the praises of Rama through the ages. Therefore, your Ramayana will survive. Mine, its work is done, because I wrote it for me and I am done." Looking at this complete amanitvam of Hanuman, Valmiki was again overwhelmed with the simple, utter simplicity and humility of this great Rama Bhakta. Valmiki was overwhelmed. He said, "Yes, you are one with Rama. You are not separate from Rama. You have realized Aham Brahmasmi. You are so humble." And then Valmiki himself, he fell at Hanuman's feet and took his blessings, and then gave him Ashirvada also. He said, "In another lifetime, I shall come back as your servant, and I will rewrite your Ramayana, and I will propagate it around the world." That's what Valmiki told Hanuman. And what did Hanuman say? He would have said, "Jai Shri Ram." What else? Isn't it? So that is the quality of Amanitvam. The first quality, one of the first qualities that a sadhaka has to develop in order to be eligible for the greatest teaching. The greatest teaching is Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. That is the message of Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? You and I are one, O Arjuna, says Bhagavan. But how to realize it? Quality. Develop this first and foremost. Develop humility. Develop humility. Do not be arrogant of your knowledge, of your status, of anything. And close on the heels of this quality comes another one. Close on the heels of another one, of the Amanitvam, comes the next quality. We shall talk about that quality with another story. This time, not a itihasa, but it is contemporary. the contemporary story of this great man. Who is this great man? This is Sir M. Vishweshwaraya, the great engineer, the great architect of our Krishnarajasagara Dam in Mysore, the KRS Dam. And he was also the Diwan of Mysore in the early 20th century. Sir M. Vishweshwaraya, popularly known as Sir M.V. And this great man was a friend of another great soul called D.V. Gundappa, Dr. D.V. Gundappa, DVG for short. We all know DVG is famous for his beautiful works in Kannada called Mankutimmanakagga, Jivana Dharma Yoga, among other popular works. So DVG and SRMV were great friends, great intellectuals, great minds. They were great minds. And what were they doing in their spare time? They used to sit and talk about state politics. They used to talk spirituality. They used to talk state politics. And since Sir MV was the Diwan of Mysore, he was in charge of formulating many state policies for the Maharaja of Mysore, Krishna Raja Wadiyar. And he used to discuss these things with his great intellectual friend DVG. DVG was a patrakarta, he was a journalist. And he used to have beautiful inputs to give Vishweshwaraya on this. And Vishweshwaraya used to incorporate these things also in his policies. So he was very indebted to DVG for all this. And so and this DVG was a very, very humble man who used to survive on his journalist, payments. His salary was very, very meager. And even in those days, he was considered to be economically weak, financially weak. He was poor. He used to live in a very small house with barely, very basic conveniences. And but he was so upright that he wouldn't accept any payment apart from his salary as a journalist. He didn't accept anything from anyone. So this Vishweshwaraya thought, my friend, why he should be, live in such a pathetic condition? I should give him some money. And so he told DVG, look, I am taking so much of your time and you are giving me so much gyan about formulating state policies. So I am going to give you a grant from the government for all the time and inputs you have given me. DVG said, no, I cannot take, because we are spending our time in our leisure time. Okay, you are not coming to me as an official of the Maharaja, and I am not talking to you as a advisor to the Maharaja, isn't it? Therefore, both of us, we are working out of our own free will, so I cannot accept any money from you. Look at this. Look at this man's honesty and total lack of, he could have easily taken it, because Vishweshwaraya was the Diwan of Mysore and he's giving it officially from the king's treasury. What was the problem? But DVG said, no, I am not going to accept it. And so Vishweshwaraya was disappointed. Then he made another plan. He said, okay, I will enroll you as a advisor to the Maharaja. I'll give you the title of then advisor to the Maharaja. As a consultant, you have to take remuneration. DVG laughed and said, okay. And so these discussions between the two great souls continued, and many policies were formulated on the advice of DVG to Sir MV. And MV used to send him regularly a check from the treasury used to come to DVG. Regularly checks used to come to DVG. And then after DVG's death, they discovered a trunk in his house. And when they opened that box, it used to be a trunk, a steel trunk. They opened it, and so all the checks were unencashed. They were not even cashed by DVG. That was the integrity and the honesty of DVG. He said, I would not take, and so he didn't take. He said, I am doing it with my own free will and not because I want to earn money. And so he stuck to that. And because he did not want to disappoint Sir MV, he had received the checks, but he hadn't encashed it. This was a great, such men are very rare to come by, isn't it? And Sir MV was no less. Sir MV was no less. As Diwan of Mysore, he had a lot of comforts. And those days, before electricity came, they used to have candles to work with. And he used to receive his quota of candles to light and do his work, the work of the Maharaja. And Vishweshwaraya used to light those candles when he was working, when his work was official. And after his official work was done, he used to blow out those government candles, the candles given by the Maharaja, and light his own private stock of candles for his own private use in the house. Look at the simplicity, honesty, integrity, and non-hypocrisy of these two great souls, Sir MV and Sri Triviji. This is another great quality that Bhagavan Krishna talks about in the 13th chapter, verse number 8 of the Bhagavad Gita. The first one was Amanitvam, the second one is Adambitvam. Adambitvam means a lack of hypocrisy, one who is not a hypocrite. A sadhaka on the path, on the spiritual path, should not be a hypocrite. What is a hypocrite? One who says something and does something else. One who doesn't walk the talk. I can talk a lot of Vedanta, but if I don't implement it in my own little way, in my own life, then I will be a hypocrite. I might say, one should not tell lies, but on a regular basis, I go on telling small lies. No, not done. That is not the quality of a sadhaka. And I might be a great, warrior of climate change. I might go on rallies and say, global warming is happening, reduce carbon footprints, don't do this, don't do that. I can do all that. But yet in my own house, if I have some 4 luxury cars which are gas guzzlers and they leave a lot of carbon footprints, then I'm a hypocrite. And this kind of hypocrisy is one of the qualities that will drag you down in the path of spirituality, in the path of liberation. So Adambitvam is the quality that one has to adopt in every walk of life, in every moment of life, in thought, word and action. So Amanitvam and Adambitvam. These two were the qualities, the very first qualities that Sri Krishna talks about in verse 8 of chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. So, more and more of this we shall come to know in the next few sessions during this Gita Jayanti celebrations. I'm very grateful to Sri Prabhuji for this opportunity given to me to share my understanding of these two qualities given by Lord Krishna. Hari Om. Guru Charanarpanamastu.
गोविन्द गोपाल गोपिका वल्लभ गोवर्धनोद्धारका गोवर्धनोद्धारका गोविन्द गोपाल गोपिका वल्लभ गोवर्धनोद्धारका नारायणाच्युता नारायणाच्युता ವಂದಿತ ಚರಿತ ಪುರಮರ್ದನಾ ಮಿತ್ರ ಪರಮ ಪವಿತ್ರ ಗೋವಿಂದ ಗೋಪಾಲ ಗೋಪಿಕಾ ವಲ್ಲಭ ಗೋವರ್ಧನೋದ್ಧಾರಕ ಗೋವರ್ಧನೋದ್ಧಾರಕ ಈನ ಶಶಿಲೋಚನ ಈನ ಶಶಿಲೋಚನ ಇಂದು ನಿಬನಾನ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತ ಕುಂಡಲನಾಥನ ಈನ ಶಶಿಲೋಚನ ಇಂದು ನಿಬನಾನ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತ ಕುಂಡಲನಾಥನ ಗಣಪಾಪ ನಾಶನ ಗಣಪಾಪ ನಾಶನ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತ ಕುಂಡಲನಾಥ ವೇಣುನಾದ ಹಯವದನ ಎನ್ನುತ್ತ ಕುಂಡಲನಾಥ ವೇಣುನಾದ ಹಯವದನ ಗೋವಿಂದ ಗೋಪಾಲ ಗೋಪಿಕಾ ವಲ್ಲಭ ಗೋವರ್ಧನೋದ್ಧಾರಕ ಗೋವರ್ಧನೋದ್ಧಾರಕ ಗೋವಿಂದ ಗೋಪಾಲ ಗೋಪಿಕಾ ವಲ್ಲಭ ಗೋವರ್ಧನೋದ್ಧಾರಕ ಗೋವರ್ಧನೋದ್ಧಾರಕ ಗೋವರ್ಧನೋದ್ಧಾರಕ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
ಹರಿ ಓಂ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ಗೀತಾಚಾರ್ಯನಾದ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನಿಗೆ ತಲೆಬಾಗಿ ನಮಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಅವನದೇ ಸ್ವರೂಪವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಮುಂದೆ ಇರುವ ನಮ್ಮ ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ಪ್ರಭೂಜಿಯವರ ಚರಣ ಕಮಲಗಳಿಗೆ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಪ್ರೇಮ ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಆದರದಿಂದ ನಮಸ್ಕರಿಸುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಯೋತಿಗಳಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಸಪ್ರೇಮ ವಂದನೆಗಳು. ಲೈಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಇಂದು ಹೆಮ್ಮರವಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದು ಅದರ ರೆಂಬೆ ಕೊಂಬೆಗಳಾಗಿರುವ ಗೀತಾ ಸತ್ಸಂಗ ಹಾಗೂ ಗೀತಾ ದರ್ಶನ ಸಮೂಹದವರು ಇಂದು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಪಡಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿ ಎಂಬ ಪ್ರಹಸನದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಒಂದೆರಡು ಅನಿಸಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿ ಒಂದರ್ಥದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೋಟಿ ಪುಣ್ಯದ ಫಲದ ಹಸುವಿನ ಕತೆ. ಇದು ಸತ್ಯವೆಂಬ ಅದ್ವೈತದ ಕತೆ. ಸತ್ಯವೇ ನಿತ್ಯವಾದುದು, ವೇದಗಳ ಸಾರವೂ ಸತ್ಯವೇ. ಈ ಕಥೆಯ ಮೂಲಕ ಇಡೀ ವಿಶ್ವಕ್ಕೆ, ಮನುಕುಲಕ್ಕೆ ಸತ್ಯದ ದರ್ಶನವಾಯಿತು. ಸತ್ಯವಿದ್ದರೆ ಎತ್ತಲೂ ಭಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ಸತ್ಯ ನಮ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮೋನ್ನತಿಯ ಬಲಿಷ್ಠವಾದ ಅಸ್ತ್ರ. ಸತ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾವಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೆಡುಕನ್ನು ನುಂಗಿ ಮಿರಮಿರನೇ ಹೊಳೆಯುತ್ತಾ ಜಗತ್ತನ್ನು ಬೆಳಗಬಲ್ಲದು. ಸತ್ಯಮೇವ ಜಯತೆ ಎನ್ನುವ ಮಂತ್ರ ಎಂಥವರ ಹೀನ ಬದುಕನ್ನು ಸಚ್ಚಾರಿತ್ರ್ಯಗೊಳಿಸಬಲ್ಲದು ಎನ್ನುವುದನ್ನು ಈ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿ ಕಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಾಣಬಹುದಾಗಿದೆ. ಹಸು ಸತ್ಯದ ಪರಿಪಾಲನೆಗಾಗಿ ತನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಮಕಾರ ಬಂಧನಗಳನ್ನು ಮೆಟ್ಟಿ ನಿಂತು ಹುಲಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಮಾತಿನಂತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಹಾರವಾಗಲು ಹಿಂದಿರುಗಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಆ ಕ್ರೂರ ವ್ಯಾಘ್ರನ ಮನ ಕರಗಿ ಹೃದಯ ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆಗೊಂಡು ತಾನು ಸತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಗೆಲ್ಲಲಾರೆ ಎಂಬ ಸತ್ಯದ ದರ್ಶನವಾಗಿ ಮೇಲಿನಿಂದ ಧುಮುಕಿ ತನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಣವನ್ನು ತ್ಯಜಿಸಿತು. ಈ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಇಡೀ ವಿಶ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ಸತ್ಯವೇ ಪರಮಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠವಾದುದು ಎಂದು ತೋರಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿಯ ಕಥೆ ಇದು. ಇಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಯೋತಿಗಳು ಇದನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮ ಭಾವ ಪ್ರದರ್ಶನದ ಮೂಲಕ ತಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಇರಿಸಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ವಂದನೆಗಳು.
ಮಂಡಲ ಮಧ್ಯದೊಳಗೆ ಮೆರೆಯುತಿಹ ಕರ್ನಾಟ ದೇಶ ದೊಳಿರುವ ಕಾಳಿಂಗನೆಂಬ ಗೊಲ್ಲನ ಪರಿಯ ನಿಂತು ಪೇಳ್ವೆನು. ಎಳೆಯ ಮಾವಿನ ಮರದ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಕೊಳಲನೂದುತ ಗೊಲ್ಲ ಗೌಡನು ಬಳಸಿ ನಿಂದು ತುರುಗಳನ್ನು ಬಳಿಗೆ ಕರೆದನು ಹರುಷ. ಗಂಗೆ ಬಾರೆ ಗೌರಿ ಬಾರೆ ತುಂಗಭದ್ರೆ ತಾಯಿ ಬಾರೆ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿ ನೀನು ಬಾರೆ ಎಂದು ಗೊಲ್ಲನು ಕರೆದನು. ಗೊಲ್ಲ ಕರೆದ ಧ್ವನಿಯ ಕೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಸುಗಳು ಬಂದು ನಿಂತು ಚೆಲ್ಲಿಸೂಸಿ ಹಾಲು ಕರೆಯಲು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಿತು ಬಿಂದಿಗೆ. ಸತ್ಯವೇ ಭಗವಂತನೆಂಬ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿಯ ಕಥೆಯಿದು. ಹಬ್ಬಿದ ಮಲೆ ಮಧ್ಯದೊಳಗೆ ಅರ್ಭುತನೆಂದೆಂಬ ವ್ಯಾಘ್ರನು ಅಬ್ಬರಿಸಿ ಹಸಿ ಹಸಿದು ಬೆಟ್ಟದ ಕಿಬ್ಬಿಯೊಳು ತಾನಿದ್ದನು. ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿ ಎಂಬ ಹಸುವು ತನ್ನ ಕಂದನ ನೆನೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಮುನ್ನ ಹಾಲನು ಕೊಡುವೆನೆನುತ ಚಂದದೀತ ಬರುತ್ತಿರೆ. ಇಂದೆನಗೆ ಆಹಾರ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತು ಎಂದು ಬೇಗನೆ ದುಷ್ಟ ವ್ಯಾಘ್ರನು ಬಂದು ಅಡ್ಡಗಟ್ಟಿನಿಂದನ ಹುಲಿರಾಯನು. ಸತ್ಯವೇ ಭಗವಂತನೆಂಬ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿಯ ಕಥೆಯಿದು. ಮೇಲೆ ಬಿದ್ದು ನಿನ್ನ ನೀಗಲೆ ಬೀಳ ಹೊಯ್ವೆನು ನಿನ್ನ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಯ ಸೀಳಿ ಬಿಡುವೆನು ಎನ್ನುತ್ತ ಕೋಪದಿ ಖೂಳ ವ್ಯಾಘ್ರನು ಕೂಗಲು.
ಒಂದು ಭಿನ್ನ ಹುಲಿಯೇ ಕೇಳು ಕಂದನಿರುವನು ದೊಡ್ಡಿಯೊಳಗೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷದಿ ಮೊಲೆಯ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಬಂದು ಸೇರುವೆ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಹಸಿದ ವೇಳೆಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೊಡವೆಯ ವಶವ ಮಾಡದೆ ಬಿಡಲು ನೀನು ನುಸುಳಿ ಹೋಗುವೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬರುವೆಯ ಹುಸಿಯ ನಾಡುವೆ ಎಂದಿತು. ಸತ್ಯವೇ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯಿ ತಂದೆ ಸತ್ಯವೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಂಧು ಬಳಗ ಸತ್ಯವಾಗಗೆ ತಪ್ಪಿ ನಡೆದರೆ ಮೆಚ್ಚನ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನು. ಕೊಂದು ತಿನ್ನುವೆನೆಂಬ ಹುಲಿಗೆ ಚಂದದಿಂದ ಭಾಷೆಯಿತ್ತು ಕಂದ ನಿನ್ನನು ನೋಡಿ ಹೋಗುವೆ ನೆಂದು ಬಂದೆನು ದೊಡ್ಡಿಗೆ.
ಆರ ಮೊಲೆಯನು ಕುಡಿಯಲಮ್ಮ ಆರ ಸೇರಿ ಬದುಕಲಮ್ಮ ಆರ ಬಳಿಯಲಿ ಮಲಗಲಮ್ಮ ಆರು ನನಗೆ ಹಿತವರು.
ಅಮ್ಮಗಳಿರ ಅಕ್ಕಗಳಿರ ನಮ್ಮ ತಾಯೊಡ ಹುಟ್ಟುಗಳಿರ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಂದ ನೆಂದು ಕಾಣಿರಿ ತಪ್ಪಲಿಯ ನೀ ಕರುವನು. ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಹಾಯಬೇಡಿ ಹಿಂದೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಒದೆಯಬೇಡಿ ಕಂದ ನಿಮ್ಮವ ನೆಂದು ಕಾಣಿರಿ ತಪ್ಪಲಿಯ ನೀ ಕರುವನು.
ಸತ್ಯವೇ ಭಗವಂತನೆಂಬ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿಯ ಕಥೆಯಿದು.
ತಪ್ಪಲಿಯು ನೀನಾದೆ ಮಗನೆ ಹೆಪ್ಪುಲಿಯ ಬಾಯನ್ನು ಹೋಗುವೆ ಇಬ್ಬರಾರುಣ ತೀರಿತೆಂದು ತಬ್ಬಿಕೊಂಡಿತು ಕಂದನ. ಗೋವು ಕರುವನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಂದು ಸಾವಕಾಶವ ಮಾಡದಂತೆ ಗವಿಯ ಬಾಗಿಲ ಸೇರಿ ನಿಂತು ತವಕದಿಂದಲಿ ಹುಲಿಗೆಂದಿತು. ಖಂಡವಿದೆಕೋ ಮಾಂಸವಿದೆಕೋ ಗುಂಡಿಗೆಯ ಬಿಸಿ ರಕ್ತವಿದೆಕೋ ಚಂಡ ವ್ಯಾಘ್ರನೇ ನೀನಿದೆಲ್ಲವ ಉಂಡು ಸಂತಸದಿಂದಿರು.
ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿಯ ಮಾತ ಕೇಳಿ ಕಣ್ಣ ನೀರನ್ನು ಸುರಿಸಿ ನೊಂದು ಕನ್ನೆ ಇವಳನ್ನು ಕೊಂದು ತಿಂದರೆ ಮೆಚ್ಚನ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನು. ಎನ್ನ ಒಡ ಹುಟ್ಟಕ್ಕ ನೀನು ನಿನ್ನ ಕೊಂದು ಏನ ಪಡೆವೆನು ಎನ್ನುತ್ತಾ ಹುಲಿ ಹಾರಿ ನೆಗೆದು ತನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಣವ ಬಿಟ್ಟಿತು. ಸತ್ಯವೇ ಭಗವಂತನೆಂಬ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿಯ ಕಥೆಯಿದು. ಸತ್ಯವೇ ಭಗವಂತನೆಂಬ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿಯ ಕಥೆಯಿದು.
ಓಂ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮ ಒಬ್ಬ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ಸಾಧಕನಿಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕಾದ 21 ಗುಣಗಳನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸಿಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಡಂಭಿತ್ವಂ, ಫ್ರೀಡಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಹಿಪೋಕ್ರಸಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಗುಣ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ಈ ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿ ಎಂಬ ಕಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಾಣಬಹುದು. ಪುಣ್ಯಕೋಟಿ ಅದರ ಪ್ರತೀಕವಾಗಿದೆ. ಹೇಗೆ ತನ್ನ ನಿಷ್ಕಪಟತೆಯಿಂದ ಆ ಕ್ರೌರ್ಯವನ್ನ ಗೆಲ್ತು ಅನ್ನುವುದನ್ನ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಅಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಶ್ರೀಕೃಷ್ಣ ಹೇಳಿರುವಂತಹ 21 ಗುಣಗಳನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮದಾಗಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆ ಉಂಟಾಗಬಹುದು, ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಹೇಗಿರಬಹುದು ಊಹಿಸಬಲ್ಲಿರ ನೀವು? ಒಬ್ಬ ಸಾಧಕನಿಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಗುಣಗಳಿದ್ದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮುಂದುವರೆದು ಆ ಪರಮಾತ್ಮನನ್ನು ಗುರುಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಕಾಣೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಆಶ್ಚರ್ಯವೇನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ನರಸಿಂಹ ಪ್ರಭುಜಿಗಳು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಈ ಸತ್ಸಂಗಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾಡೋದರ ಮುಖಾಂತರವೂ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನವನ್ನು ಪಡೆಯೋದರ ಮುಖಾಂತರವೂ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ ಮತ್ತು ನಾವು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಜ್ಞಾನವನ್ನು ಪಡೆದುಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಸದ್ಗುರುಗಳ ಮಹಾವಾಣಿಯನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮನನ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ನಿಧಿಧ್ಯಾಸನ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ನಾನೆಂಬುದು ನಾನಲ್ಲ, ಈ ದೇಹ ಮನ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ನಾನಲ್ಲ, ಸಚ್ಚಿದಾನಂದಾತ್ಮ ಶಿವ ನಾನೇ. ಶಿವೋಹಂ ಶಿವೋಹಂ ಶಿವೋಹಂ. ಓಂ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ಹರಿ ಓಂ ತತ್ಸತ್.
Yeah.
Hari Om to all the Atmajyotis. Today we have Namith, who is one of our youngest and most talented acharyas. So Namith is currently studying in Kumarin's Dorkal Sandra, and he's 12 years old and he's in 7th grade. Hari Om Namith.
Hari Om Aditya.
Okay, let's start with the first question. How did your journey with Light of the Self Foundation start? Like, how did you first get to know about Light of the Self Foundation, and how has it grown since then?
So to start, it was by my friend. Thanks to him. His name is Aditya. Now he's not there, but before Bhagavad Gita classes were happening in Vijay sir's house. So he introduced me to the Gita classes. So I really thank him for doing that. So I didn't know that it would be like this. I joined Vijay sir's class and I found it interesting. It's not like today where we had so much in the Gita sessions today. We have so much. We have stories, shloka. We learn shlokas, their meanings. We understand the meaning with shlokas, but then it was just we were learning a shloka and Mahabharata stories by Vijay sir.
Right.
It was very simple, but still it was had a great impact. I really liked that, and I felt like I should continue with it. So I continued, and many programs like Guru Purnima, Gita Jayanti, before COVID, so that it was happening in our apartment, which is basically Shobha Forest View. There, programs were happening, and I was also participating, and I really found it nice.
Right. And when did it first start? When was this?
It was in 2019.
2019. Okay.
So around 5 years ago.
So you first joined the classes, the Friday classes, right? By Vijayji.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So when you joined the Gita classes, how did you think it helped you, and how did you notice any changes like in your day-to-day life? So how has it helped you?
Definitely, I noticed changes in me as an individual. Because at the starting, as I told, there were no meanings, but still by the Mahabharata's stories, the struggles, and various things, I learned a lot from it. There were a lot of conclusions to draw out from that stories, and it also changed me. Like I was not getting angry as before, or like pissed off for very common things. So my composure grew, my calmness and composure grew because of all these classes. And can't forget my friend who introduced me to these classes.
Beautiful, beautiful. So related to this question only, how would you say the message of Prabhuji's or Vijayji's? Can you give an example of how this has helped you?
Yeah, there have been many messages that Prabhuji and Vijay sir have aimed for. To be honest, it's nothing selfish which they have done. It's all selfless, and I absolutely think it's right. For example, whatever Prabhuji tells, Atmano Mokshartam Jagat Hitaya Cha, or Man Man Man, their Gargar Gita, all that is a great message. We need to spread. It's not like Hinduism, Christianity. It's about humanity. So I think it's really important to spread and bring out a transformation in everybody. And whatever Vijay sir tells, like from the shlokas, he explains the stories beautifully, and there are so many things we can learn. So what even I think what he tells is applicable, and it can bring out a transformation. It has brought a transformation, definitely. Maybe not a lot, but still it has brought a humongous change in me.
Right, right. And finally, for the last question, what would you say is one quality with you, or one thing that you see in you that has helped you succeed as a student?
I would like to recite this shloka. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karmapala heturbuhu mate sangostva karmani. So for those who do not know the meaning of the shloka, it means that you have the right to do your duties. You can perform them and also set an aim. that I want to become this, I want to become a doctor, I want to become an engineer. But you shouldn't be attached to the results.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as a student, that's definitely helped me. And yeah, even I get like upset if the marks are not good. But what I feel, one thing that always comes to my mind, whether I feel happy or sad, that definitely there's a next time for improving, and I should concentrate on my work and do it, give my 100%. And then
Yeah.
next is left to Krishna. So
Yeah.
so it does not mean that it's Krishna who will do everything, and it all comes by luck. Yeah, definitely there might be some luck, but still, luck only comes when you put your effort. Luck only
Yeah.
comes to those who put efforts. So I think if you want to be lucky and also be successful, you shouldn't be attached to your results, and you should focus on doing your work, and also try helping others if you can in some or the other way.
So to summarize that, basically, don't focus on the result, but focus on the path or the journey, right? Is that what?
Yeah, when I say don't focus on the result, it's not that you shouldn't think about the result. It's
Yeah.
definitely that you need to think about the result, because if you don't have an aim, there's no use. So you need to have an aim. You need
Yeah.
to you need to go towards that. But later, whatever happens, you shouldn't be disturbed by that. Instead, you should look at how you can improvise and do better the next time. So that should be your main focus rather than thinking. And also, it's of no use. If you think also, the results won't change.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And the second thing is that it's of no use. It's simply time waste by doing that. You can utilize the same time by looking how you can improvise in that field and do better the next time. It's not only in exams, be it in our real lives or something else. We can, it's not only for like this shloka is for students. Each and every shloka in Bhagavad Gita is applicable for everyone. It is a guide for the whole mankind. It's not the chapter 1 to 5 is for children, chapter 10, 5 to 15 is for adults, 15 to 18 is for aged people. It's not like that. All the chapters have a solution for all our problems, irrespective of our caste, religion, gender, or wherever we are born. This Bhagavad Gita is like a universal truth. It's true whether you stay in US, you stay in India, you stay in UK. We can see this in our Light of the Self Foundation. There are so many teachers
Yeah.
in our Light of the Self Foundation who are teaching from the United Kingdom, UK, or the United States, which is US. They're teaching Bhagavad Gita because it's a universal truth. So I would also like to thank them and appreciate their work by as they're spreading Gita. It's not about mainly only people think it's about for Hindus. It's about Hinduism. They think it's a religious book, but I want to make a correction there. It's not a religious book. It's a life guide. It can guide you in your whole life. It's not only for the religion. It's not that it applies only for Hindus.
Yeah.
If you see every shloka, it doesn't talk about religion. It doesn't talk about Hinduism. There was no that kind of discrimination or caste based, gender based. There's no kind of discrimination. So yeah, that's what I think.
So true, Namith. Really well put. Really well said. That's all I had to ask for today. Thank you so much for taking your time and answering my questions. Hari Om.
Thank you, Aditya. Even I had a great time speaking to you. Hari Om.
Thank you.
लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु. May all beings be happy, healthy and peaceful. Harihi Om Tat Sat.